Hello, I'm Rick Stivers. I'd like to welcome you to YoungMartin'sReels. Today's project is going to be very different from most of what I've done. Some of you were around when I did the Sullier Gang reel that I bought off the internet. Well, this is an Ozark Trail fishing reel that I bought from Walmart. This reel costs $19.99. It's supposed to be an all metal, or mostly all metal, spinning reel, 5,000 size. And for $19.99, it's like, that's a lot of reel to buy for that amount of money. So, and I checked today, and there's at Walmart.com, you can still buy it for the same price. I bought it a few months ago, but I thought, well, let's give this thing a try. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut this thing open. We're going to take it apart, take a look at it, how it's built, and we're going to see about going ahead and servicing it. That's what I did with the Sullier reel. Sometimes the Sullier reel turned out the biggest problem that reel had was that it wasn't adequately lubricated. So we're going to lubricate this one too, if necessary. And I'm trying to open it up without cutting into it, the reel itself anywhere. It's a pretty tough blister pack. There we go. Get it out of there. Okay. And it comes with an IPB, which I just managed to tear, I think. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I did manage to tear the package, but it appears the only thing I tore off was the name in the corner. Yep, that's all, and a little bit of the, okay, tore the bail off as well. All right, we'll have to tape that back on, so I've got it all. But it's got the part names and the part, but that's it. It was not a part number. It's got the number that they're giving the parts on the reel, and but not a part number to order parts by. So my guess is you're not going to find any parts for this reel. And let's see how it seems to work right out of the box. It's got a good feel to it. It's a solid reel. Okay. I read some of the reviews on this, and people were complaining about the reel having a clunking sound. I don't feel any clunking in this reel. It feels pretty nice. So we're going to take it apart, take a look at it, and get it back together. By the way, it's got a 5.1 to 1 gear ratio. It'll hold 355 yards of 12-pound test, 285 yards of 15-pound test, and 210 yards of 20-pound. I'd probably never put anything more than 12-pound test on it myself, but it's available. Let's see how. Let's check the drag before we go taking the rest of it apart. Okay, that feels pretty good. Okay, we're going to start off with the spool, and most of you know that I usually service the spool last, but since this is an exploration video, let's go ahead and open the spool up and take a look at what we've got. I'm assuming that we're probably, for this kind of price, I'm assuming we're going to have felt drag washers. And we do. We have felt drag washers. Okay, unlike the Sullier reel, these drag washers have been lubricated. They feel like they've got a grease on them. I don't usually use grease on felt drag washers. I'm going to go back and add a little oil just to satisfy myself. I'm going to put in the keyed washer, put in another drag washer. Yeah, these are definitely greased instead of oiled. And we're going to put in the eared washer next. rotate it around, okay. The last drag washer goes in. And I'm going to oil that as well. I just tend to think that the oiled felt washers tend to operate more smoothly than greased. Obviously, the manufacturer thought grease was what they wanted to go with. I'm not a manufacturer, so. And it belongs to me, and I'm not worried about a warranty on it or anything, so I don't mind pulling it apart and servicing it the way I want it serviced. Okay, if you end up with one of these holes in the hole, right, one of these bends in the hole, you want to kind of move it around a little bit. There you go, to get it up out of that hole. All right, so that's got that. Let's see what kind of pointer. Okay, it's got a metal clicker for the drag. All right. I don't see a thing wrong with that. Let's take a look at our, okay. Nice, strong. It almost feels like it's double sprung, but I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure there's no spring on this side. We're going to explore it since this, like I said, this is an exploratory endeavor. We want to see what we find. Let's see if there's a spring of any kind in here, which I don't believe there is on this side. There is not. A dab of grease. They put just a dab of grease on the center here, and I'm going to end up oiling the whole thing instead. We'll leave the grease in there. Okay. I'm going to oil around the head of the screw, and I'm going to oil along the side there where it operates. Okay. And on this other side, I don't know that I'm going to oil the roller so that it stays moving freely. And we're going to take just the side plate off of the side. See what type of spring they used in this side. See if it's the coil spring or the lever spring. It's got tension pushing against it. The spring is loose in there. It's pushing this top out. Okay, so this ought to be okay. Yeah, it's that coil spring type, and we can reset that. Okay, and that's what we're going to do. We'll pop this down. Okay, the reason it popped out like that is because I had this up when we took it out. Up, now let it slide out, so we're going to have to take it the rest of the way out. Okay, they did grease this well up inside, so that's good. And we're going to go ahead and take this top off. I should have had this, if I had had this lever down like this when I took that off, that probably would not have popped out like that. Okay, so let's go ahead, take this off, and get the side lever back on there where it belongs. And we'll take a look under here while we're there. Yep, they just greased it lightly. Okay, on this side over here, there's a post hole right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put just a dab of grease in that post hole. And that's purpose is to hold this plastic arm. Okay, we're going to set the plastic arm in there, and it's pretty lightweight, so it should. Yeah, I actually bent the end of it a little bit by taking it off like I did. So, or maybe it's made that way. It didn't bend back, so maybe it's made that way. All right, we're going to slip this back in over here. Back into this side, like so. We're going to rotate this back into place, bring it down, and put it in place like so. And we're going to put this screw back in. Yeah, that's why that's curved that way, is to make it fit down in that hole. And that's fine. That's the way it's supposed to be. Let's go ahead, put this screw back in. And so far, this reel is very well lubricated. I'm happy with the way they've done it. Okay, we're going to take this spring, we're going to slip it back on here, and then we're going to slide it up into place. And I might need my screwdriver to help me. And we're going to slide this up and drop it into that little slot right there. And that's the way it would have been had I not had that up when I released it. Okay, so we're going to put the side. We're going to add a little bit more grease to the side spring here, just to help this all. And we're going to slide this back on, like so, and put the screw back in. All right, that's all working as advertised. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and take off the handle. And we're going to add just a little touch of oil up in here for the pivot. And we're going to put just a drop of oil here where the handle spins, and set that over to the side. And let's see here, does that go up under? It does. So we're going to have to now take the clicker cog out here off along with these washers. Remember, there's two thin, or at least one thin washer here. And that's your spacer washer. It's clear. See it? Okay, and our cog for our drag for the clicker. And we'll take out this screw. It's a countersunk screw. Nope, it's a flathead, but it appeared, it's so flat that it appeared to be a countersunk screw. All right, now we are going to remove this nut from the middle here. And it's going to loosen in a clockwise direction, which is different from what a lot are. There we go. Take the nut off, and now we should be able to take the whole rotor off. And there's not anything under there. Boy, it's so nice to take a clean reel apart. All right. Now we've got this, which is our anti-reverse arm. We're going to lift that off of that post right there. Set it over to the side, and we're going to remove these two screws. Take out this shielded bearing. It's not a sealed bearing, it's a shielded bearing. And we're going to add grease to it. I tell you what, let's leave that on there for the moment. And let's go ahead and take the side plate off first. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on with this cap here. I'm hoping, yeah, that screw is going to loosen it. Yeah, it's got, see here, it's got this plastic piece that slides inside, and that screw that I just took out will go through there to hold that in place. Okay, then that's going to come off. Okay, two more screws. One here. Okay, and this one up here is probably going to be a different size from all the rest. Nope, they're all four identical. All right, now we're ready to remove the side cover. I think we are. Let's see if I got a screw on the other side. I do not. Okay. There we go. Okay, now it does not have a bearing in this side. It has a plastic bushing. That does not mean that it won't work well. It just has a plastic bushing. Okay. See how dry this is? They did not lubricate that. And people have told me that you do not have to lubricate plastic or nylon. I always lubricate those. So let's proceed on. We'll take the main gear out. Not a lot of grease in there, but it's got grease. Now we are greased on the other side. So one side's greased and one side's not. What does that tell you? Okay. We're going to remove this screw right here that is holding the axle shaft into the crosswind block. Okay. Remove the axle shaft. Remove the crosswind block. Well, can't get hold of it with my fingers. All right. That seems to be pretty well lubricated. Crosswind gear comes out just fine. All right. And now we'll come back and remove these two screws. And that should allow us to pull the bearing out. There's our bearing. Okay. Not a lot of grease on the pinion gear, but let's go ahead and we're going to oil. I'm going to move this off of the table. What we're going to do is we're going to oil this shielded bearing. We're going to set it over to the side and let that oil soak into it. And normally we would go through and now start doing all of our cleaning. Well, all of this is pretty clean to begin with. All right, now here's something you want to be careful of. We're going to zoom in on this. Okay, if you look right here, see that little V spring? If you flip this lever right here a time or two with this side cover off, that spring is coming out of there. Okay, unless you're holding it in. Okay. You have to hold it in when you flip that lever, or that spring is coming out and it's gone. It shoots across the room. See, like right now, it's trying to come out right now. Okay, so be very careful. Do not flip that anti-reverse lever while you have that off. I'm going to hold it in place and I'm going to flip it the other way to kind of lock it in place. There we go. That's got it kind of locked into place right there until I put the side cover back on. All right. Let's zoom back out. And we're going to start assembling. And we're going to start off putting the pinion back. We're going to add some grease to the pinion gear. We're going to put the bearing back on the pinion gear. Set it back into the case. Like so. Okay, and we're going to put our two screws back in. All right, now we're going to put the sleeve back on, but notice your anti-reverse spring is on this sleeve. We're going to zoom in just a little bit here so you can see this. I'm not going to get too carried away. All right, we're going to slide this on. Okay, and it's got to line up with the, no, it doesn't line up to the flats. This one just slides on. Okay, it slides on, and see that little spring? That spring has got to go on that post right there. Okay, and its purpose in life is as it rotates, it's going to pull the anti-reverse in and out, like that. Okay? All right, the next thing we want to do is we're going to go ahead and grease where this gear is going to ride. Now, some people will tell you, oh, don't mix greases, but I don't think we got a big problem with mixing our grease there. I don't believe anyway. Okay, we're going to install our cog, or sorry, our counter. We are going to install our crosswind block at that point, and it should have adequate grease on the teeth. And we can rotate this around a little bit, make sure that we've greased them all. And it will work its way around if you don't grease each and every tooth. The grease will eventually, as you wind the reel, work its way around. Next part to go in is going to be the crosswind block. Okay, and this end of it here, this end right here, has got to slide up underneath this metal plate over here and get onto the post on the block, like so. Now one last time, we're going to grease the teeth on the gear. And let's slip the gear back in, like so. And finally, well, not the final thing, but we're going to put our axle shaft back in. Let's oil it good. We're going to slide it in, maneuver it around a little bit, wobble it so that it works that oil in there to everything. And then we're going to line up, goes into the crosswind block down here. I don't know if you saw that, but as it comes in, we're going to line it up. The flat goes to the top, and we're going to line up the hole in the crosswind block, and we're going to put our screw back in. All right. With that done, we're going to now put some grease where they didn't have any grease, which is right here on the end. And we're going to slide the side cover back on. Okay. And I'm going to put 2 screws in for the moment. I want to check something. Okay, what I wanted to check is whether or not this reel needed to be shimmed. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the handle on and tighten it down and see if there's any side-to-side play. Okay, there is ever the slightest side-to-side play, and I might could take that out by adding in a 0.1 millimeter shim, but I don't think that's necessary. I think we're good. Okay, that feels good. So we're going to go ahead and put the other 2 screws in. All right, remember this piece has to slide on from the top up here like so, and then slide down. This little piece here has to slide in there, and then the screw is going to fit through that hole. Now I did scrape a little paint off there, sorry, but that's the way it is. Oh, I really scraped the paint there. Not crazy about the quality of these screws. All right. And I'll have to touch that up. All right. Let's see if anti-reverse still works. It will once, see how it's, there's how the anti-reverse works. We flip the lever. See, no anti-reverse. There's anti-reverse, override, or anti-reverse. This is the override here. Okay. Now we'll take and put the rotor back on. Let's put the nut on. Tighten it down. Remember, it goes counterclockwise, not clockwise. Okay, and then we're going to put a screw in. Let's tighten it just a hair more so that the flat will be over here with this screw. There we go. We're going to set this screw in, tighten it down. That keeps the nut from being able to back off. Okay, next, going to go our clicker cog and our plastic washer. It sets the spacing for the spool. All right, and then finally goes the spool. There's the clicker. That's that clicker on that clicker cog. And tighten this down. Let's see what we got. Okay, anti-reverse override's working fine. Anti-reverse is working fine. Bail trips easily. And we have our drag. So there you have the Ozark Trails Walmart reel. Now, don't anybody think that I'm getting sponsored by this by any means. I'm not. I just wanted to try it out. This is not a saltwater reel, although they do offer an Ozark Trails saltwater reel for about right about the same price. I saw it this morning, and I think this reel is going to go out and perform. It's got an aluminum spool. I think it's going to perform just fine. This one's going to go on my boat. We're going to give it a torture test, take it out there and use it for a year, like I'm doing with the Suligag. And the year's going to be coming up here this spring pretty quick on the Suligag. And the Suligag did have one failure, and that was with the plastic spool that they had put in there as a secondary. Now that I put the metal spool on it, it's working just fine. So I know that there's people out there. Hang on. Let's see if I can pop the end of this off and actually lubricate in the end. Yes, I can. Good. I want to put a drop of oil into the end of this and then pop that back in like so. All right. And there you have it, folks. The Ozark Trail 5000. It's a nice little reel. I think it's going to go out and do just fine out on the boat. We're going to give it a try and see what happens with it. Worst that'll happen is I'm out $19. The best that'll happen is somebody out there might decide that, you know, somebody who can't really afford much of a reel, and people tell them, don't buy that, it's junk. Well, it's not an absolute junk reel by any means. I'm not sure I would have gone and put this on here like this, because to me this weakens this handle, and maybe not, but certainly it appears that that's a weak point for the handle to be able to break. I wouldn't have done that. But no, it seems like a good solid little reel for $19. And we're going to give it a try on the boat and see if it does as well as the Suligag. The Suge Elang. That's Suge Elang. That's what I've been told. But I cannot make that roll off my tongue. It doesn't work. But we're going to try this reel out and see how it does on the boat. I'm not going to be going fishing for about another week or so. I'm still in the middle of home renovations, and I can't just take off in the middle of home renovations. And but it does have a painted bail wire, so I'm not real enthused about that. But you know, aside from, or it appears to be painted anyway. I did manage to scratch the paint already in 2 places, and I don't usually scratch the paint on reels, so that means that It's not very good quality paint that they put on there. But we'll see how it goes. I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Tell me what you didn't like about the video. And if you would like to see further videos like this and haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. And for now, that's Rick Stivers with Young Martin's Reels, signing out.